Hello everyone, welcome back to another Minecraft update video. It's a new year, which means it's Snapshot 25W02A. But what version of Minecraft is this for? Will it be 1.22? That's what I'm going to label this video as, but it could be 1.21.5 because now we have drops and updates. They're two separate things. And Mojang, if you're listening, it would be great if we could drop the drops and just refer to all of them as updates. It's going to be much easier to follow if a new snapshot cycle just brings a new point number, like 1.22. Anyways, if you agree with me, leave a comment down below. And while you're down there, hit that subscribe button to catch all of the future snapshot videos and stay up to date with this latest cycle of Minecraft development. There is quite a lot to cover, so let's start with the pig that now has two new variations. To see these variations, we must transit to the correct biome. So I've come to the taiga biome to summon in a pig, and that's the first time I've seen it. Oh, there's a natural one over there. Oh my goodness me, this is amazing. It's slightly yellowish. It's kind of like a little bit bushy. Can you see down there? It's got some texture kind of hanging off the main body. Wow, these guys are super cute, and they have baby variants too, as you can see here. And in order to find one of these pigs, you'll need to visit one of the biomes that's listed on the screen right now. These are the places that they will naturally spawn in. To see the other variant, we have to travel to somewhere hot and warm, which is why I've come to the savanna biome. And oh, look at it. Wow, it looks quite a bit different from the other pig. I'm joking. I was just seeing if you were paying attention. Look, here are the new pigs. They're kind of like reddish brown. They look wild. So cool. No bushy texture though around the sides here. And once again, we can get some baby variants right here. They are super cute. I love these new variations. So these are the warm pigs. And once again, I'm putting the biomes that you can get these mobs from. They will spawn here naturally in these locations. But when it comes to breeding, it's not based on the location. So let's take these two warm pigs, bring them to somewhere a little cooler, and then breed them with the potatoes. So this is a spot where this type of pig would generate, but as you can see, the baby is dependent on its parents. So what type you'll find naturally in the world is based on the biome, and when you breed them together, it's based on the parents. We'll have one more closer look with these no AI floaty pigs right here. I'll also let you know they drop the exact same loot as regular pigs. Oh, and look at that. The cold one does actually have like a little texture layer, an additional one around the outside there. Now let's check out wildflowers, which you may have seen already in the video. They are indeed very similar to pink petals. In fact, they are pretty much the same thing. So like the pink petal, you can place them down one at a time and put up to 4 different sections of flower onto the block that you're placing. And then based on what direction you're facing, you can do that in a different orientation. Just like the pink petal, you can bone meal these to grow more of them. And you can also do this on a partial wildflower. So I can manipulate them like so. The pink petals turned into pink dye, so it's no surprise that wildflowers will turn into yellow dye. And you can find the wildflowers naturally generating in the following biomes. Now, if you are paying close attention, you may have noticed something similar but new taking place below the trees in this game. And this is true of all leaf blocks in this game. They now have a chance to create some leaf particles. Of course, we've already seen this with the cherry leaves and the pale oak leaves, but now it's been applied to all of the existing ones. And I think there's some missed opportunities here. First of all, they all have the same generic leaf particle. What changes is the color. And here I think there's a missed opportunity to have the same color as the flower in the flowering azalea. As we head further down here, there's a couple of leaf types where the texture of the leaf doesn't quite match this generic leaf texture. The spruce has needles, and the mangrove leaves, they feel very distinct here on the leaf block texture, yet the particle effect is quite different. And maybe you could say the same of some of these other leaf blocks, but over here it doesn't feel quite as obvious. And the way this is currently coded means that a resource pack cannot address the issue. So going forward, I think it'd be really cool if these were separated into individual texture files that could be customized, and maybe even in the base game, we could have some more appropriate leaf textures for certain type of leaf blocks. Next up, we're going to check out leaf litter, which naturally generates in the world underneath trees where there are falling leaf particles, but I don't think the particles themselves lead to these being here. Now this looks fantastic, and these new flowers and leaves are just going to be amazing for creating details, but let's talk about them because you might have guessed they are very similar to the wildflower and pink petals. They work the same way, but there's one thing you can't do, and that is bone meal them. You are also unable to craft them into a dye. Now you might be thinking a good opportunity for brown dye, but these leaves have a different purpose. They can be used as fuel for smelting. And if we let it smelt for a moment here, we can see that every 2 leaf litter used translates to 1 item smelted. Now, since we can't bone meal this stuff, we don't want to just run around collecting the stuff that's naturally generated. There is a way to obtain this stuff, and it is by smelting leaf blocks. And that is in fact any type of leaf block. Throw it into a furnace and you can turn it into leaf litter. I think it's unlikely that this is going to become some sort of new preferred fuel source, but it's nice to have more options. What it will probably do is increase the demand for farms that give you leaves. So a hoe with silk touch on it, get lots of leaves quick, and then create a furnace array so you can get these leaf litters in mass and use them to decorate your base. But if you want to just go out there and rip them out of the world, the places they generate in are forests, dark forests, and wooded badlands. They also come with their own sounds, so let's turn it up and have a listen. As well as placing, there is breaking and walking. Yes, this one is much quieter. Now let's address the elephant in the room. I have changed my skin. I am currently Xisuma. And that feels just right because Mojang haven't stopped development on the Garden Awakens. So we got some changes specifically for this update. And rather typically, the first thing that I teleport demonstrates the problem they have supposedly addressed. Lots of people have complained that these biomes are too small, so a change has been made so that they can occupy more of the dark forest biome that you'll find them next to. So I try my luck at teleporting to another one, and this is clearly a fair bit bigger than the last. And there is also a note saying that a woodland mansion will be able to generate in the pale garden biome. Alright, let's get to the better changes. I've changed the time to night, I found a creaking, and we're going to name it Dinnerbone, which flips it upside down. But that is not the new thing, my friends. We're going to change the time back to daytime. And as you'll see, this creaking isn't going to despawn because we name tagged it. This is something the community asked for, Mojang have listened, and now we can keep the creakings in our world in daytime. Now, if we break the creaking heart, or we move the creaking too far away from its connected heart, or if it ends up falling into a hole with a player, then the creaking can disappear. Now, does this mean we can make a daytime survival farm? I believe the answer is yes, because we punched this guy and the particle effects went over here. Oh no, look at that. It's not generating any resin. All right, back to nighttime. And look at that. It can only generate the resin at night. Right, we also got a new texture for a dormant creaking heart. So let's go ahead and activate these to see what they look like when activated. Then we switch the time to day, and you can see there's a bit more color now to it because it's dormant. So that's cool. There's like a third in the middle texture. There is also supposedly a change to how eye blossoms will transition from closed to open. Here on the website, it says the transition between the awake and dormant states of both creaking hearts and eye blossoms are going to be based on the fixed time of day, and that all of these behaviors are no longer affected by weather or dimension brightness. So it's been a great snapshot so far. It's really nice to see them listening to the community and making some changes to the stuff in the previous update. But now we get to move on to a bunch of just random gameplay changes. We'll go through these one by one. All right, so first of all, the lodestone, a really powerful block. You can link a compass to it, and then that compass points at the lodestone. The only problem was you needed some netherite to craft it. But now the recipe has changed. Check this out. You just need an iron ingot. Well, and 8 chiseled stone blocks, but yeah, that's made it so much cheaper, so much more accessible, and you can also find them in the overworld and the nether. The place to find them at is a ruined portal. So in one of these chests, you have a chance, and look at it right there, of finding a lodestone. This also feels like a really good match because, you know, you can put your lodestone next to that portal that you've just found and then have a compass to find your way back there if you need to do so in the future. I don't think anyone is going to be complaining about this change at all. This next one, however, might kick up a few complaints. And to be fair to Mojang, they communicated that this was a change they wanted to make a long time ago, and I think it's in this snapshot that it's finally arrived. We are talking about the zombified piglin gold and XP farms, where you can aggro a piglin, it will then call in its buddies, and when they get killed inside of the farm, it drops both gold and XP, despite the player never attacking those additional pigmen. And I am having a real nostalgia moment here because I'm pretty sure I built this farm in one of the old Hermitcraft seasons. Or maybe someone else built it. But this is Ilmango's gold farm and it works in 1.21. Let's see if it still works in this latest snapshot. If I remember, you need to use a snowball to aggress one of these zombie pigmen. And am I imagining things, or do snowballs throw different now? Okay, bow and arrow it is. And here they come. They're all running towards me. And do I actually need to do anything here? The mobs are dying because there's minecarts down there, so they take damage from entity cramming. Right, and here's the thing. Here's the change. I didn't get a single bit of XP from this farm. All right, it's not all terrible. You still get golden nuggets and rotted flesh from the zombie piglins. But yeah, that is a big nerf, but it's one that was announced a long time ago. I also had to summon in some zombie pigmen with spawn eggs just to do some tests because there's none of them spawning up the top here anymore, which feels rather strange. There is no mention of a change like that. It just says zombified piglins now need to be killed by a player to drop the player-specific loot. Anyway, we're expecting this to come one day, and I guess it's finally here. It's time to say goodbye to this classic farm. So recently we've seen chunk loading get a major buff by allowing ender pearls to load chunks, but also to reload those same chunks when you log back into a world. Well, the same treatment has been given to nether portals. Chunks loaded by a portal will now be reloaded again automatically when the world is reopened. So I'm going to guess how this works. When you throw an item through a portal, it's going to keep it loaded for a certain amount of ticks. And I guess that the game is then going to keep track that that portal is trying to keep those chunks loaded. So if it becomes unloaded, then when you reload the world, it will continue counting down those ticks. And of course, also loading those chunks. Farm animals can now spawn in Badlands biome. I've been teleporting to a bunch of these Badlands biomes and I'm yet to find a farmland animal, which I'm going to assume is like a pig, sheep, or cow. Maybe even a chicken, but no sign of them yet. It also seems like a really strange change. Like, why does this biome have to have those mobs spawning in it? Okay, this biome is huge and I see no signs of life at all. Short grass now generates slightly sparser in meadows. Oh, that's right, my friends. Mojang have finally caved. The drama is over. The beef has ended. No more 20-minute video essays about our slightly sparser grass in meadow biomes. Thanks, Mojang. It's what everyone was really asking for. If you use the accessibility option of the narrator, let's turn it on and immediately turn it back off again. You can control the volume of the narrator through voice and speech, which is found in the music and sound options. If the game detects the last startup did not complete normally, the full screen option will get reset. And if you have Minecraft Realms, there are two new changes with this snapshot. Uploading a world will now enable command blocks by default, and you can now upload a hardcore single player world to your realm. And lastly, all of these iron blocks here got some new sounds. I think they're the same for all of the blocks as far as I could tell. So you got your place sounds and the breaking sounds. There's also sounds for walking on the blocks and falling onto them. All right, it's time for a little chat, you and I, one-on-one. I don't want to divulge too much, but I've been working on a very big project for a long time and I am going to try and release it next week. And because of this, it would be convenient for me to have a little more time on my hands immediately, as well as bring you another video next week before this project drops. So if all goes to plan, you will see a part 2 to this because we didn't cover the technical details. There's some resource pack stuff and bug fixes, a few of which look really interesting. So I will come back with another snapshot video on Monday if all goes to plan. And then the following day, hopefully this big thing will happen. So I apologize if that's an inconvenience to you, but you can always go and check out other people's snapshot videos if you need to know all of the details right now. Otherwise, I will see you on Monday. So make sure you're subscribed and keep your eyes open around this channel next week to find out what this big project is about. So that's it from me, and I'll see you again on Monday. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.